Would like to hear from a couple of you just right off the bat. I know a few have used Spotio during the POC period, but now that we've converted and hopefully you've been using it a little bit more now, but want to hear about the numbers and the reporting that you're going to be wanting to see from your team, like what's happening, their activity out there in the field, like anything specific. I'd like to hear what that is so that I can show you where to find it here in Spotio. So anybody want to volunteer?
Sure, I'll start. So I am having my reps, when they go out and log visits, what I'm having them use the visit result and then filter their leads so that they can see everyone that they need to email as opposed to scheduling an activity, right? So that I don't know if that makes sense. I've kind of taught them to use the visit results to do like daily follow-up, and then if there's something that they need to schedule kind of 2 or 3 days or a week out, then they'll schedule that as an activity. But because the calendar syncs to their Outlook calendar, it was kind of clogging up their calendar to have like emails and texts scheduled on their Outlook calendar all the time. So what I'm wanting to see is all of their visits, and how close they were to their visit when they logged it. And being able to see like notes, easily see notes when they're doing all their email and call follow-up would also be awesome.
Awesome. All right. So yeah, our visit report, we'll take a look at visit verification and then notes from emails and calls.
Hey, Zach, it's a little bit quieter when you speak. Is there any way you could like turn up your volume or something?
Yeah, I don't know why Zoom does this, but for whatever lower sometimes. Let me quickly just turn it up. I'm sure it's here somewhere. Yeah. Is that better?
Yes, that's a lot better. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Thanks for pointing that out. All right. So as far as seeing like visits, like essentially you wanted to see their visit and the visit result, like the results of that visit, of that for them out there in the field. So you can see there's a ton here on the map, but what we're going to do is pop up here to the dashboard where all of our reports live. And you may have already seen these. I think we've looked at these before. There are a few things we can also look at here as well. So for those of you who haven't seen this is our dashboard inside of Spotio. And y'all feel free to interrupt me with questions or anything like that as I go through this. I've had some coffee this afternoon, so I tend to just like ramble on and talk a lot. So let me know if anything pops up and we can jump into it. So we can come down here to our visits report.
I was just seeing if Connie's has filed for the ERC tax credit yet.
I think
you guys have filed for the ERC tax credit yet, or if there's a better time to talk to a phone manager.
There we go. Okay. So if we come to our visits report, we can see by users, and it's going to default for the day of. So today, if I want to see it for, let's just look at this month. It's not too many days, but if I want to see all the visits made this month by rep, I can see that as well. If I want to come in here and filter by team, it may already show up like Ashley. If you come in here and look at your team, it may just be your team here that you see. But because I'm logged in as an admin under Jared's license, then I'm going to see everyone's visit, how many visit results they've had. So Ty 142, Matt 117, and so on. As you can see that for that date range. This percentage here is comparing this month for it compares the date range you selected to the previous date range that coincides with this one, meaning it's comparing this month's numbers of visit results compared to last month. And so that's where that percentage comes from. If I wanted to see it by result, like the actual result of that visit that we have created, as you can see, there's 180 emails, and you can see those by reps as well, and the result here that's listed in columns with the numbers. So I think this is probably a little bit more of what you're looking for, at least that first thing that you mentioned, Ashley, for your reps. And then let's see, there's other things you can look at as well. So like by stages, I'm going to see how many we've marked as one or qualifying. A lot are going to live in prospecting, of course. You'll be able to bounce around and see different types of visits here. And then for a little bit of visibility into that activity and those visits, we can pop back down in here to our visits verification report. where we can see the number of visits that were logged. So Ty logged one, he was 122 feet. His device was 122 feet away from the address here of this lead whenever he logged that visit in Spotio in the mobile app. And you'll know it's always in the mobile app. They're completing these activities. Can't actually log a visit on the web app, so there's not really a way around that. Excuse me. So then you'll see anything inside of 300 feet is going to be marked as verified. Just means they're fairly close. Anything outside of 300 feet is going to be unverified. Just gives you a way to have some visibility into, say, I'm in here creating leads and I've created 50 leads and I've marked 10 of them won, but I'm 970 miles away from them. Just kind of gives you an idea of how you can maybe coach up your reps to use Spotio a little bit better in the field. But also there are times where you forget to enter in information. So we'll do it at the end of the day. Oh yeah, I forgot to do that. Let me go enter in, log that visit real quick. So I'll have that info for the next time. So this is where you can find that report as far as visits verification goes.
Hey, Zach.
Yeah.
Is this report, does this have to be on the website, or can you get this much detail off of the mobile app?
So you won't be able to find this specific report on the mobile app. Most of these actual reports are going to be found on the web version.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And then, all right, a way to get a little bit more of an insight into the exact activity that's happening with a certain lead and maybe follow-up steps or any notes that are associated with them. We're going to come into our pipeline and we can see all of these here for the month. For this month, there's 6,400. Of course, in this view, you'd have to jump in here and click into each one to see the exact details. But if you go to the list view here in the pipeline, you'll be able to view it in a more linear way here. So there's more details, very specific details on when this activity was created, the customer name, the person who actually owns that lead or created that activity. Mark's up here killing it at the top. And then also, we have a column, I believe it is on this report. If I scroll down, you can toggle on and off these columns. Think of like if you're looking at a spreadsheet, you can delete columns that you don't care about the information you're looking at. So say I don't need to see recent activity at, I can toggle that column off, or like a unit number. I can toggle that off and it'll disappear from my report. Just gives you a little bit of a cleaner look of what you're wanting to see. Let me come down here. So you'll see all the custom fields we created as well. So there's like a notes field that we can have on this report. If they've left notes in that specific custom field, we can see those based on the rep. And you'll be able to come in and see those at a quick view here as well. Available again, you can see some next steps. A good way to just, I guess, maybe a good coaching way as a reminder to your reps out there in the field. Next time, maybe you have them during your one-on-ones, or maybe it's a team call every week, whatever that looks like for you guys. Kind of urging them to use this notes field, this next steps field. There's a couple notes field in Spotio, so they may be using another one, and I'll show you where to find those. But kind of prompting them just to use these fields, it gives you a little bit more visibility into what's happening. If you need to, maybe they're out sick and you need to follow up with one of their leads because they have an appointment with them. I know that does happen. So just wanted to point that out for you as well. And then we come up here back to the rest of our reports. We have an activity feed report. So say I want to see all the team. I'm going to filter by a specific team, go to Ashley's team, and then we can see just the activity that's gone on with the reps that have been using Spotio. And as you can see, the activity owner versus the lead owner. The lead owner is essentially like whoever assigns these leads, or if you've created these leads, it's automatically going to put you as the lead owner, and then activity owner is who was responsible for the activity that is associated with this report, which is an email. And then if I scroll over to the right, you'll see this address. This hyperlinks to the actual details of this lead. So if I wanted to pop in here, I could see all the details that have been entered in, contact details, all that good stuff. And we'll pop back out. But you can also see more notes that have been entered in for a lot of these leads as well. So again, it just gives you a little bit more insight into what specifically is going on with those AEs or those regional managers that are out there in the field.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah. Does that answer your question? Were you looking, did I fall short in any way?
Nope, I think that's great. Thank you so much.
Sweet. That is awesome. And on your end, you're also going to have the option, I believe, it may be just be an admin function. I believe managers still have that option as well to export this data into a regular spreadsheet. If you wanted to kind of refine it a little bit more or keep it for your own reporting on the back end, you can do that as well.
So I have a question of something that would be helpful for me as a manager, if we could go over real quick, unless you guys already have like something else that you need to move on to.
No, go for it.
Okay. So I have a background door to door, and it's really easy to like have area drawn up and keep them because they're all the houses are typically next to each other, and it's easy to like, okay, I'm out knocking, I can just go, door to door to door in a small radius. In situations with this job where we're driving to businesses, sometimes the industry we're focusing or the reps that I'm having them focus on an industry, they'll be spread out. And so is there a way to, if a rep gets a referral in their area, let's say, I draw them up an area and then they get referred to another business owner, but then it's outside of their area. Is there a way to be able to see all leads despite whether their area is drawn up or not? Is there a way to do that? Or
Yes.
even if it is drawn up, I can still see a lead if they, had to go outside their area to go follow up on a referral.
So the rep themselves or you as a manager? Well, you want them to be able to see it as well?
Yeah,
Okay.
it would be nice for everyone to see each other's leads. Yeah, if that's an option.
So we do have specific permission settings set up for each role, aside from an admin role, so like a manager role and a rep role. I would have to look and see what those are here in the system, but
Yeah,
I believe. Go ahead,
sorry.
Jared.
Yeah, I set it up so every rep can see all the leads inside the team. So basically any rep within your team's organization, you'll be able to, that's how I set it up. Isn't that what it's showing there?
Yep.
Okay. And then most of the managers, I've actually assigned them the whole state that they're in. So that way they can see pretty much all the leads within the state. So anywhere he goes within the state that you're over, then you'll be able to see leads there too. So
That should do it. Yeah. That
Awesome.
means each rep on that team should still be able to see, like if you created them a lead within that state, within North Carolina, and they're all usually working in North Carolina, they could all see that lead. And you could ping whoever it is that's closest to it to go check them out. So
yeah, I just need to work with the regionals to let me know which of the reps need to have manager rights. So that's what I'm working on right now. I just sent out a spreadsheet. So as soon as your regionals let me know who needs manager rights, you'll be able to see all of that. So.
Exactly. And as managers, you'll be able to create your own territories as well. So I know, Jared, you had mentioned that. And since we're here on the map, let's just take a look at how to do that. Pretty simple. So once you get into Spotio, the web version, this can only be done on the web version. You'll be able to view the territories on the mobile, but creating them is only done here. And so I come to my map, I pop over here to the far right. There is an icon here that's listed as territories. And we have plenty of them already created, but if we need to create one in the future, what we will do is just hit add up here, top right. You can name the territory. We'll do Florida test. I know how to, I'll just delete it later. And then I could simply just draw a territory if I wanted to, but we have a cool feature that if I just wanted to create it around the whole state of Florida, I'm just going to click here in Florida in this area here, and it'll give me the option to automatically create a territory in Polk County, Babson Park, this zip, or the whole state. So I could just select the whole state if I wanted to, hit add to territory. It's automatically going to create that territory for those users that are in that area. So that's one way to do it. The other way, like I had just mentioned, was just to draw it out. If I want to just do it along the coast here, just the southern part of Florida, you'll be able to do that. I'm not going to make it too pretty. But if you just wanted to make it the bottom half of Florida, you just draw it out, same thing, you assign it or you can change the colors of it if you'd like. And then if in the future, you can also adjust the territory boundary if you want. You can kind of like pull it up, that kind of thing, if you wanted to. So that's the second way to create a territory. And then the zip postal is what it sounds like. You just enter in the zip code. I don't know any Florida zip codes, so I'm going to come into the Dallas area and just give you an example of where mine is. So look up that zip code. There it is. We get to save it based on that zip. And say you had, I mean, you could copy and paste 50 zip codes into here and it would automatically create those territories if you had them as well. If you wanted to be a little bit more specific, doing it by zip, you can do that as well. So that's really it as far as creating these territories. But any questions about that process?
I was just gonna add, and then obviously down where it says assigned users, that's where you select that, and then all the names of the reps that you're over will pop up, and then you can add them to that territory. So
Exactly. Yep.
just one side note, if you managers out there that start creating territories, it's going to be really important to have communication with me if you create a new territory that I haven't already created, because more than likely you're not going to have leads there. So if you create a territory, just make sure you get with your regional or message me and say, hey, I drew out an area in this city or in this zip. Make sure you upload leads for that territory that I just created. Otherwise, you're not going to have leads for that territory. So again, just an
Hey,
FYI, it's
Jer.
going to be important to have that communication. So
Hey, Jer, how much of a lead time do you want for those leads? Like, you need 2 days to put them in, 3?
it just depends on how busy I am, but typically 2 days at the most.
Okay,
I had it's just like with Spotio, I'm not able to upload everything because we're only
Mhm.
allowed a certain amount of leads we can upload a day and per month. So right now we're
sure.
kind of limited, but I think they're going to work that out so we can get everything in, but we haven't really got to that point yet. But yeah, so just if you can give me at least a 2-day heads up, that would be perfect. And then I'll make sure those
Yeah.
leads. The last thing I want is just managers making all these territories and then they're like, well, where's my leads? And then the communication
Hey,
line is just,
Totally.
yeah. So just
Hey,
Yeah,
another-
and
that's
with
going
our
to be
new
really important.
hires,
So
we'll just want to make sure. Yeah, with our new hires, we'll just want to make sure that we're like getting that to you with at least 2 days notice. So
yeah,
we'll make
and
sure
if
to take note of that and train our managers.
for sure, and if you just want me to create the territory, just shoot me a message and be like, hey, can you make this so you don't even have to mess with it. I'd be willing to create the territory because I have like a certain way of how I'm labeling them all. As you can see, each territory has the city, then there's like like a dash, and then it
Yeah.
has the state. So there's a certain way how I want them labeled too. So as of right now, as we're getting this kicked off, it might be better if you just message me and then I'll create it for you. So
Hey,
uh,
Jared,
Okay.
yeah.
do we still have the lead request form on the hub? Could we just maybe utilize that? Or
Yeah,
is
yeah.
that-
So if you just want to fill, yeah, if you go to the hub, that's a good point. Just go to the hub, fill out a leads request form. I think it's down at on the bottom left. Fill that
Yeah.
out, and then as soon as I get that email notification that you filled that out, I'll create those territories you want and start piling all the leads in there for you. And then obviously you're just gonna make sure you let me know what city and zip codes you want and which reps you want assigned to those, and then we'll get that within 2 days for you. So.
Why don't we just by default, let's have everybody do that, whether it's us or the manager.
Yeah.
That it's, it's the same, right? And
Yeah,
they'll
yeah,
have,
we don't want chaos with all these different areas coming out of
Right.
nowhere. So that's a good point. We'll just make that the way we're gonna do things is just filling out a leads request form on the hub, and then I'll create everything and upload all the leads for you. And then once they're uploaded, what's cool about Spotio is it will send you a notification that the territory has been created and the leads are uploaded. So you'll get like actually a push notification on your phone that it's done, and then you'll know that it's ready to go. So.
sweet, let's do that. That
Okay.
sounds good.
Sorry for the interruption, Zach.
Oh, no, that's great. Great that you jumped in. And on that point about importing, I'd hate for you guys to have to let them know. I mean, to do that for that long. So I actually do have an update with you on our conversation from last week about how we get all of these in here at once. I think it was like 120K. So I'll follow up with you via email after our call.
Okay.
Let you know what I heard from our team.
Cool. Perfect. That way we don't, yeah, the leads will just be there and I won't have to keep uploading them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
okay,
it's convenient.
cool.
Yeah, so let's take a look. For those of you who have been using Spotio, now take a look at reporting, looked at territory creation. These are all managerial, like oversight functions of Spotio. Anything that you've run into that you either didn't like or needed or had feedback on, or that how you've been using Spotio so far, or yeah, just any feedback at all. What I'd like to hear from you guys while we still have a little bit of time here.
So one thing that I've noticed, hopefully I'm
No,
not
go
cutting
ahead.
anyone off.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
When I click on a business owner that I've talked to talked to the owner, and so I'll usually click contact decision maker, and then the little top bar where it says prospecting, and you can change it to like lost, and then I can explain why the owner isn't moving forward. You know, either they already filed through competition. It gives us a bunch of options. They didn't qualify. Maybe they didn't have W-2s.
Yeah.
The only thing that I'm curious about is all the contacted decision makers, they stay yellow regardless of whether I switch it from prospecting to lost. Is there a way to like, so that when you look at your map, you know what I mean? It's hard to differentiate between, okay, I contacted these decision makers and now they're all the same color, but I don't know which ones to go. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. So what we have down here, and you'll see at the bottom, there's a legend for what these colors mean. So we have go back, as you mentioned, that contact decision maker, which is like a yellowish color. We have call, text, email, appointment. We can change the colorization of these pins using our filter at the top right of the screen. So let me zoom in a little bit more to, here we go, it's 44.
So I guess my question is, because that's fine, like that the colors aren't the issue. It's more of the, like when you switch it from prospecting to lost, it doesn't, even if it was like an email or I put the email pin or the go back pin, it doesn't change the color, or it doesn't have like any different change on the lead, whether it's still in prospecting or if it's moved to lost. Hopefully that makes.
So you're saying like, well, is it a red pin when you move it to lost and save it? Is that?
No, it doesn't change colors. Like, for example, if I put like a pin that says, I'm going to email this business owner or for whatever example, maybe a rep puts email, but the owner doesn't qualify. And so they put email on the pin, but they switch it to lost. Now, when they go back or to review, like, hey, these are all the people I need to email, but it's under the lost category, how would they differentiate the pins that they need to go back and email? Hopefully this doesn't sound crazy. Hopefully I'm not like the only one, but the blue pin
I
wouldn't.
understand what you're saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the blue pin stays blue. Is that what you're saying, regardless of what you move it into? And you don't.
Yeah, whether it's prospecting or whether it's in the lost category from the top bar.
Gotcha. So we can filter what we see here on this screen. Yes, we could change the pin colors if we wanted to. They're automatically going to default for that particular visit, and so you can see those visit results down there at the bottom. But if I hit this filter bar, this filter icon at the top right, let me show you a few things we can do here. We can colorize it, like I mentioned, by the stage if we wanted to. So then it would be red or gray or whatever that looks like. Or we can just come into the last visit result. I want to see all of those that I emailed or called in text, regardless of where they are in the stages. So I want to see all of those emails. And it'll filter literally everything else out on the map so that you can just see those blue ones. And you could do that with any piece of criteria that you're looking for. Would this solve that for you? Did I understand what you were asking?
Yeah. Go ahead.
I think what and Chase, maybe, or not Chase, sorry, Ty, maybe I'm wrong, but I think what he's saying is he wants the color to change as the customer progression changes, basically.
I
So
think the stages is what he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Jared, you're exactly right.
Gotcha.
And Jared, you changed those? Because I remember when we were talking about which ones are going to be in which categories, when we were setting up Spotio? Isn't that something that we can change?
So
Or-
yeah, I think Zach's gonna show us now. So as your individual with your own individual account, you can choose whether you want it to show stages or last visit results. And I think he's gonna show that to us right here. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, so I changed it to see the color of the pin based on the stage itself. So now you can see this legend change. It's no longer call, text, email. It's prospecting, contacting, qualified, deliverable, and then lost. So how to do
Beautiful.
that, and you just saw me do it. You won't have to do it every time either. So if I hit colorize pins, by default, they're going to be colorized by the last visit result. That's what we were seeing before. That blue is email, all that good stuff. But if we select stages, it'll be kind of down here in the middle if you're following along. If you select stages, hit show 42 results. So we're going to see where all of these leads sit in their stage itself. If you popped into them, you'd be able to see the actual like visit results. Like if I went to the history of it, this one hasn't been visited, so it's not going to have it on there. So instead of like having to come in and change that every time, you can actually save this filter so that you can just open up the filters and quickly apply. Like if I hit save filter there, it'll save and I'll be able to come back into my map to see it just by the stages. So that is the option that we have right now. We could also, and I think we decided to flip this to make it a little bit easier for the team out there in the field and quicker to use. But we could also change it back to, I don't know if you remember, Jared, we have it door-to-door mode right now. Before that, it was something a little bit different that defaulted in color by stage. But I think this maybe makes sense.
yeah, I guess it was just kind of like right now we just defaulted the colors as last visit results. And then in one of my trainings, I just let everyone know, hey, if you don't like that, you can just go into the filters and change it to the stages.
Yep.
So it's just gonna, that way people can custom, because some people might like the visit result colors more than the stages. And some
Yep.
people might like the stages more than the visit results. So it's just, we just left it up to the rep to decide how they want it, what colors they want to see. So
Exactly. So if we colorize it by those results, you can see all the pins. All we did was we're just filtering pin viewage is not a word, but how we see these on a map, right? It's not deleting anything from the map or anything like that. We're not removing data by any means. We're just changing what we're seeing. So that filter, we colorize it by stages. But if I wanted to see all of the lost stages on here as well, I could see why we lost those leads in a certain area or whatever that looked like. It will also filter your view for all of that specific criteria that you've created. Again, you could come in here and save this filter and you'd be able to utilize that on the map as well. So that filter is going to be active. Essentially, you see it's highlighted pinkish. That's going to be active until you remove it. So if you're coming back into the app a day later and you're like, where did all of my orange pins go? Like, what is this? My leads are gone. Quick tip is to check the filter because it does stay active. So if we hit refresh here at the top right, I'll be able to see the rest of my pins and how they were listed before. So as you can see, it defaulted back to the last visit result as the color of the pin. But if you want to change it, yeah, go in there to that filter, colorize it by the stage, and you'll be able to see a different view of it, maybe a little bit more helpful.
Perfect. Yeah, no, that answers that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man. Great. Anybody else? We got about 10 more minutes.
Yeah, I got something.
Go for it, Matt.
All right, this is Matt. Yeah, I've been loving using the templates, and I was thinking like what would be amazing is to be able to edit a template on the fly, like to select a template email that I want to use, and then if I wanted to like customize the intro to it based off of how the interaction went with the prospect, to just make a quick, change to the template and then shoot it off. Is there any way, that would be possible?
So are we talking about what kind of template? Are we talking about like an email template, or is that what you mentioned?
Yeah, email.
Gotcha. So here's our email. If we have templates that have been created. So look, there's one by Matt. If I select it, you should be able to come in here and let's see. Come down to the bottom. Thought we'd be able to make an edit here. I see. Okay, yeah, I see what you mean. So on the mobile, you will not be able to edit these. Obviously on the web you can, but that would be something that it's like a feature improvement, a feature request here on my end. But that's actually a good call out. I like that, especially if you're out there in the field, you're on the mobile. most of the time, right? So
Right.
yeah, I hear that feedback. I'm gonna go ahead and note that down, send it over to our team, because I think that's actually a pretty good one.
So is that
All
why,
right.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, this is Nancy. I noticed that if I do emails directly from Spotio, what my client is receiving isn't like in the same format. You know, it looks more bunched and like a text message, even if I'm using, you know, copy and paste, or if I'm, I don't know if that's me or if it's because I'm on mobile, if it needs to be on the web. Do you know what I mean?
So I would say, and do you have a template that you've created that I could take a look at?
No, I can't say that I have a template I've created. I've tried to use some of them, and when I sent it over, it just didn't seem to come out the same way that it looked prior to me sending it. So maybe I could show you it in an email. Maybe I could shoot you an email or something of
Yes.
what I mean, you know.
Yeah.
but-
Yeah, I would say definitely send me an example so I can take a look. Most likely when we see that happen, it's just the formatting of how we enter in that information, especially the copy paste is not very friendly when it comes to formatting of templates like that. So would love to see that so that I can help you out with it. I think it's probably an easy fix. So send it over. My email is just zach@spotio.com.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hey, Zach, I have a question about that too.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't, just since we were bringing up email stuff, I have sent a couple emails from the app, and I needed to send it to like my client and their accountant and their bookkeeper. And I wanted it to be like a group email, but it
Yeah.
sent it to all three of them separately.
Mm-hmm.
So that has been slightly problematic for me also.
Yep, we've heard that before. That's something we are improving. So you can't necessarily like CC. You have to send to all three. It's instead of like having to CC, you just selected in that two area where we're sending. So that is something we are improving. We've heard that feedback before. I'll have to let you know when it's rolled out. I don't really have a time
Awesome.
for it, but we have. I hear you there. That is frustrating a little. So
Listen, I'm not the email feature. I love the email feature. Just if we're talking about it, I think it's great.
no,
I think
that's
that would be
great.
awesome.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
think one thing you could do is like send it to yourself, and then inside your like email app, you can forward it to like the 3 different people at the same time. I mean, that's just an idea that I thought of, but
Sure.
I know that's kind of like another hoop, but that might be a temporary band-aid. So
Yeah, like a good fix for now or whatever.
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I have another question. If I noticed that it seems to be connecting my emails. I'm wondering if I email directly from my Outlook, will that go on my count of emails on Spotio?
So if your email is integrated with your Spotio account
Uh-huh.
and that email that email address that you're sending to is associated with a lead in Spotio, then it will show up in Spotio.
Okay.
That
And it
answer
will,
your question?
okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Great questions. We got about 5 more minutes, y'all. And of course, this doesn't have to be the last of these calls. I'd like to check in with y'all throughout the period of implementation to make sure everything's going smoothly. Love to hear feedback, good or bad. And if you ever do have any questions, shoot them over to Jared. You can forward them to me. We can figure those out. If we need to hop on a troubleshooting call, we can, or maybe it's just further training. I have you guys in implementation, gosh, for like another 2 months. So, and then you'll have another customer success manager long-term to be assigned to your account for the rest of your life cycle with us, or lifetime with us. So wanted to just let you guys know that. And also, I don't know if you all were aware, I know a few of you might be. Let me see, I did have a chat come through. Oh, Ashley had to hop. There is a way to contact our support team. So say you run into something out there in the field, or maybe one of your reps does, and you can relay this to them as well. Just as a reminder, But say they run into something, maybe it's just a little glitchy, or they don't know how to find a certain feature that they should know or that they've used before, whatever the scenario may be, you can contact, or they can contact our Spotio support line, which have live agents just literally sitting there waiting for this. It's the purpose of their job. So, or one of the purposes. They can do that through the web. So there's two ways to do it. Through the web, if I hit open chat, and you'll see the times there that they're available. They're in Central Time, 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, and then 12 to 4 on Saturday. You'll be able to do that through the web. It's probably the quickest way to get something resolved. And if they can't resolve it, which normally they can, but if they can't, they'll send it over to me because I am handling your account for now, and I can help you guys out with it. And then also through the app, it's available. If you select the profile icon at the top left of your app, up will pop a list of options here. Feel free to play around with some of those. But down near the bottom, it says chat with support. That's the same functionality. Up will pop friendly bot. But then as soon as you type in your question there, it will ping one of our support agents, and they can start helping you out from there. And their response time, I believe, is 2 minutes or less on average. So please utilize that if you run into anything out there in the field, or maybe you can't get a hold of me for any reason. This is your quickest and probably best way to fix or get an answer to something quick if you need it.
Yeah, I've actually used that a few times, and they are super helpful. Like it's an amazing tool. So yeah, that's awesome.
Awesome. It's great to hear. Alrighty. Well, if no one has anything else, Jared, I will follow up with you on the importing limit and what that looks like moving forward. So I'll send you an email right after this.
Okay.
We can figure out what to do there. Did anyone have anything else before we wrap up?
I was just gonna add, could you send me this recording so those that couldn't be on this meeting, I can forward it to them?
Definitely. Yep, I can do that. It takes a little bit to process on my end, but I'll send it over after it's done.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I had a last question.
Yeah.
Is there a way to add another contact to the lead? You know, so like say we're talking to a business owner and he wants us to kind of work with his manager, you know, and so we, you know, is there a place or a way we can add the manager's contact information on the lead?
Yeah, definitely. So let me come to a test lead that I have. I think I created some up here. Come over to our office. Yeah, these are test ones that I've created. So there's two ways to really add one. If you were out visiting, like in the middle of a visit, you're logging visits and all that good stuff, there's two ways to add one. If I hit show all fields, if I already have one here, Zach Reed, I have my email here. If I hit this plus icon, I can go ahead and add another. I mean, you can add unlimited.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah. So you can add whoever else that's at that location as a second contact. You'll have all these fields available to enter that information in as well. And then say I am not actually there logging a visit, but I have just received maybe their information via email that I want to add to this particular lead or account. I would come up here to this icon at the top right, tap those three dots, hit edit lead, and you can come in here and do the same thing. Hit the plus icon, enter in the new information that you need, and then just hit done, and it'll save it in that lead.
Amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, man. I like the easy questions. Anything else?
Hey, Zach, I just want to reiterate, for those that are out in the field, if there are areas where you don't have those PPP loan leads, please go onto the hub. And on the left side, like we talked about earlier, please fill out a leads request form, and I'll make sure you get leads in those zip codes or those cities where you want to have leads if you don't have them now. So just a reminder.
Sweet. Awesome. All right, y'all. Well, yeah, Jared, I'll follow up with you after this. I'll send you the recording as well. You can share it out to whoever needs that. And we will be chatting soon. I'll follow up with you and we'll connect real soon.
All right. Thanks, Zach.
Of course. Thank you guys for being here. Good luck out there, and let me know if you need anything.
Thank you.